Wind has GWO.
Mm-hmm.
We have MSHA.
See, I don't know anything about it, so I can ask lots of questions
You're
about
surrounded by mines, right? Who knew that OSHA has its own, in its like and kind way, GWO.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called MSHA.
MSHA.
That's the mining. Don't ask me to get mining safety, mining, MS.
I didn't know that.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
MSHA.
operational
Mining Safety Health Association. Awareness. I don't know.
And that's similar to GWO?
It is. So that's the mining standard. So in there, if you think about, well, we'll talk about this.
Yeah. Hold off. Here we go again. Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
All right, we are recording. All right, well, that's a great intro. All right, we got Dwayne Kitchen here. Dwayne, thanks for coming up to the studio for the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm glad that we're recording and not just continuing our conversation.
Right.
This, you have great stories to tell.
10 years in renewables. There's a lot of them.
Yes, there are. And how many years before that? Oil, right?
15 years oil and gas.
15 years oil and gas.
Mainly Chevron and Oxy.
Right.
So
25 years in. Were you all safety at Chevron?
Started off as an I&E electrician.
Okay.
Believe it or not. And that kind of led from a previous telecommunications career of climbing and all of that. And then kind of led to, they needed a safety guy. And we got inspection from OSHA one day. Hey, Kitchen used to work in health, didn't you? You were a respiratory therapist. Yeah. Hey, you're a new safety guy.
You were a respiratory therapist first, like in life?
Yeah. That was my first career.
First career?
Yeah.
How long?
92 until 2000. So that's where I met my wife and all of that.
92 to 2000. And then you did technical work. You said climbing.
Yeah, we built cell sites for Verizon, Nextel, a little small company called Simon's Construction out of Paso Robles. Mom and pop, little, I think there
Simon's
was
Construction.
10. At the most, we had 10. Mainly, we usually had like 2 crews of like 7 people. And we did the work of a 30-people company, just people gelling together. In the beginning, it was horrible. Like no one knew what we were doing. We knew the job, but getting everybody to focus on just civil work or just tower work. Because you're doing turnkey sites that are, dirt, fence, tower, radios, tests, handed over to the customer. And
if you're a small company, you wear a lot of hats.
You do. And then we finally got a civil crew. They went in front of us and they did all the concrete work because I hate finishing. Come to my house, you'll see horrible finish work. But once we got those guys in place, everything kind of went really well. We were doing 4 sites a month just because you get into a flow and a rhythm. It's the same site over and over and over. And, safety, when you talk about a lot of the stuff we do, that was kind of like the first real entryway into safety for me because it was all about repeatable work. Right. It's flow. It's the same process, step by step by step.
You knew what to expect.
Yeah. And so it kind of worked out. Plus, a lot of the AT&T guys, and back then it was Sprint, Nextel. A lot of those guys are still around. Still know them from working in the industry, and it's kind of nice to see everybody 25 years later. Hey, what are you doing now? I'm still a safety guy.
I think what I love about this is I have given a ton of advice on this podcast to people and to the audience about you don't know what other jobs are out there. Just get started somewhere.
Right.
And I bring up, quality, safety. Maybe you want to be a manager someday. Maybe you want to be in sales, quotes, finance, all these extra positions and departments, and you are walking proof of one of those.
Right. Who's your best sales guy? The safety guy. Because we do it cheaper, safer, more efficient, no rework.
That's pretty good.
Right? That's everything that we do.
I like it.
Yeah.
And above that, I would say if you were a technician, if you were working in the field somewhere, you're going to be one of the best. And I often say, if you want to go in and be a sales guy, go work in the field a while.
Right.
You want to quote work, you want to talk to customers, go do what they're wanting.
Exactly.
For a bit. And then you get to, so, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know you started that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to hear about the rest of it. Before we get started too far, I got to tell you, maybe a year or two ago, You had to talk with me about stop work authority, and you were the one that said, Adam, it's not an authority, it's a responsibility.
Right.
I took that to heart. That is, we have converted Altair over to that, and maybe other people have said it too, but as far as I'm concerned, you're the one that convinced me of it, and I can't thank you enough. There are few people in my life that have changed how I look at safety, and you're one of them, my friend.
Well, it's all about hazard ID, right? If you can't see it, you can't own it. So as soon as you stop, what happens after stop? Owning it. And that's where the responsibility comes in.
Yeah.
So once you kind of take it to the next level from the act to calling the supervisor, calling the customer, whoever it may be, that's the responsibility part, seeing it to the end.
It's brilliant. It's obvious. At another company that called Stopworks Good Catches. I love this. You should be celebrating the stop work event. And when you just change the connotation a little bit.
Oh yeah. All those are gifts. Any first aid, any near miss that, maybe there was a first aid that resulted, maybe property damage, but it wasn't an injury. It wasn't a significant SIF related incident, serious injury or fatality. You got to celebrate those.
Sure.
The whole Heinrich pyramid thing, build the base. The more stuff you can build off of, you can predict when that next incident's going to be, when that recordable is going to be. And in today's world, we're just not the workforce we were when all that stuff came out. It still applies, right? But we've just grown. We now have, PDIs, personality diversity indicators, where you're getting into people's behaviors, e-colors, Myers-Briggs, DISC,
right?
All of that I can predict your tendencies. What do you most like? What do you least like? Well, now if I know that about you, I have a 2-week working knowledge of who you are before I even know you. I see your colors. Oh, hey, he's green and red. Okay, I know how to interact with that. I know what tasks not to give you immediately. I know what tasks to give you immediately. I know to ask you, how are you, before I jump right into the business of it all. Some people like small talk, some don't. And all that gives you is just a better way to communicate.
We shared this. Yep. You got the education at Chevron. I got mine at GE. How do you get those people to take that test? Because it's a huge number of humans running around, on power plants now.
I want to think that Lewis Senior, if you're listening to this, Lewis Senior, equilibria.pg. But you just go to the website, you take they have a free link to it.
Sure.
You take the PDI and it gives you your color base. And as you're going through that, you learn almost immediately what it means to be the colors you are, what you're most like, what your leaks like, what your tendencies are.
So there's quick tests now.
It's a quick test. It's 28 questions. And it scores it right there.
I remember it being a long test, but that's interesting. Now I'm feeling old. I should have thought that there was a website where you could do this. Yeah. I always had the paper test.
Well, you get the paper test when you're doing it in a group. But when you're on the computer age, COVID changed everything. Like, I don't think we do anything on paper anymore. Everything is there an app for it? Is there some way to go paperless? From Go Forms to Google Forms to, whatever it is, there's a paperless way to do it.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah. And that's good. Must help save the planet. I know it's easier for filing. Okay. So go to the website. It doesn't take much time. But you have to do it as a team, because the concept is you have to share this with your coworkers.
Yeah. So you do it individually, right? And then you share your results. I think at WWS, I had the entire office do it. And in our glass windows, right, everyone had their e-colors thing printed out. So you went by to see what they were, and you read about what you were, but we never kind of got to finish the journey of going down to what does it mean? How do we interact with one another? Because when you're building teams, you're on projects, you get to understand, again, the fluidity of communication. Now, there is one thing, it's called e-colors ethics. And that's where you do not judge someone based on their colors. Their personality is their personality. You can't say just because you're top color red that we need to have this doer for this project. Everybody has all 4 colors in them. Make sure you're doing that you're not pigeonholing people based on what you perceive that's what they need. Because at any given time, emotion changes. Work changes, anything you can imagine, how dynamic we are just in our mood swings. Same thing goes with e-colors. So one day data is something you have to do the job. The next is you got to BS the crap off of everybody, right? So, I mean, it's really, and if you're a data-driven BSer, oh my Lord, you're a sales guy.
Yeah. Data-driven. The motivational skills,
That's
those spoken word traits.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. That's good. I've never seen them where you put the colors on the window. And now I don't remember which color went with which letter, but I understand the concept.
Oh yeah, they had lanyards and bracelets and everything. So because you got to make it visible to where you see and you know who people are, especially when you get over a certain head count and you don't know their name anymore. You know, Ian Steele was the best about knowing everyone's name, what car they bought, where their kids went to school, all of that, right? Up until we got to a certain employee size. And he prided himself on, we are providing all these families with lives. And he knew what their life story was. And it always amazed me. We would go to a meeting and he would have all that in his back pocket. Well, not everybody has that kind of memory.
No.
So the color, like in the window or a lanyard or whatnot, helps you remind you of what their colors are. So you just immediately can go back to it.
Right. Yeah, I do know that about Ian. And it does irritate me because he remembers more of our stories when we're hanging out and we don't get to hang out as much as we used to. But he remembers stories much better than I do.
Oh, yeah.
It possibly also means that his learning style primarily is audible,
Mm-hmm.
which helps. Mine is not. That's my weakest. So when we have these conversations, it's that plays into how the person retains information too.
Exactly.
And can play it back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Procedures. How do you receive them? Is it written? I struggle with computer-based training. Now, some of it now has it talks to you, like it reads it to you, or you have to read it.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather hear it than I would read it because memorizing a song, right? I have the Bible app and I would much rather hear it to memorize it than I would read it to memorize it. Because I'm wired that way. I can see it, I can do it. I can hear it, I can do it. But to read it, it's like stereo instructions. Come on. Right? Because maybe I can't enunciate the word properly, or I would normally spell it wrong, so I'm saying it wrong. Well, when you hear it, it's already, you don't get to make that mistake because you already heard it.
I'm the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to see it. I prefer to read it. To remember names, I often have to write them down.
Right.
I'll even fake it with my fingers sometimes. If I don't have anything around and need to be incognito to not forget something.
Right.
As long as I can see myself writing it.
In today's fast-paced industry, having the right tools isn't just an advantage, it's essential. That's where ETI Energy Tools comes in. With over 75 years of industry experience, they deliver strategic procurement solutions that enhance safety, efficiency, and cost savings. ETI provides industrial tools, safety gear, test and measurement equipment, and heavy repair solutions, all backed by a vast network of manufacturers. Whether it's tool kitting, PPE standardization, or high voltage tooling, ETI saves companies time and money while ensuring they have the right tools for the job. Contact ETI at etienergytools.com to learn more and gear up for success.
Yeah, what comes in the ear does not always stick for me.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, if we learn these things about each other,
Mm-hmm.
then we can communicate that way
Yeah.
and help each other.
What's the biggest issue we have? It's communication.
Communication.
And it's not like, what do you call it? It's not change management communication. It's the grapevine communication. It's the, I want you to do task X and I want you to use this piece of equipment to do it. Somewhere along the line, it's now do this with, something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wait a minute, we talked about this. Yeah, but I got distracted and I forgot. Okay, well, you're not trained to do that. You were on that other piece of equipment, but now you're not on this. Oh, well, this is my go-to. So there's a lot of, verification that goes into the blended of what is written
Mm-hmm.
and what we hear. I'm just one of those people that if I hear it, it's almost like it was written,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also absent-minded as hell. What we're going to
Wow.
say right now, I got it. And I have to go back and immediately write notes. I've got a voice app on my phone now that takes notes for me. Hey, do you know we're recording this? Okay, great. And then I can go back. Teams is great about that when you have a Teams call because you can get the summary notes.
Okay.
Because when you're really focused on a topic or doing an investigation, you have to have something to help, right? We all have that one person in our team that's the great note taker, and not everybody has that. So if you do, you can go to technology now. I just learned that AI does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used a few of the audio recording AIs and converters. I haven't tried Teams, but I know what you're talking about. They don't help me as much.
Yeah.
I'm better. Just let me type out my notes while we're talking, and I'm pretty fast, so it doesn't usually slow it down. But there are times when I'm just exhausted running the next meeting, and I tell them I'm going to record this one, and we'll let. I always joke when AI is doing. I call it Jarvis, right?
Tina.
We're going to let Jarvis do this one.
Yeah, Tina's mine.
Tina?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably not steal Tony Stark's and come up with my own, but
It's all right. Jarvis works.
yeah. But it's funny, it doesn't help me remember as well. It helps me get the task done.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's its purpose too.
Yeah.
It's very task driven.
Right.
If you use AI to any extent, right, you get your own set of keywords. I had a previous manager, and she was great with AI. Oh, dude. Give you the tool, give you the prompt, and then as soon as you learn it, I forgot. So now how do I do this again? And then, but it's repetition. And when you start using, especially for procedure review or anything that you're keyword searching, where usually you would, like a Word document, you could word search replace, right? And you can find it. Now you can do the whole document in a second. Hey, summarize it for me. Right. But it doesn't do the whole job for you. You have to go back through and read it and review it. It just puts it all in one spot and gives you what I call bones for, whatever you're going to do. You're trying to throw out an idea. I want to write a book. Right. And I want to write a book about a diverse, workforce that is just, a dispersed workforce. One guy in a truck. How do you manage all that? Right. So I'm putting all this stuff on paper on how do we do this whole remote workforce, effort. And how do we get training across? How do you get management across? How do you get your time card filled out? How do you get all that stuff, right? And it's not easy because they're not there.
Right.
They don't come into the office every day. So all of that kind of revolves back to what we're talking about. It's just AI can help, but it is not the do-all.
No, not at all. I loved how you talked about training. For me, it's the manager. I see great technical training, new to industry training, safety training. You can get all the basics, right? And then you can go get some advanced training, industry specific.
Right.
Wind turbine model, solar field, batteries, your OEMs and things like that. Where we're training managers, to me, is the gap. And I'll tell you, we've been taking some swings at doing it. It's internal, and we're still in process. We think we have the right recipe,
right?
But it's new because it's definitely been a gap. So it feels like we're applying some 1970s manager training models to it, going back in time a bit. But it is quite the gap, and you have to mix hands-on, audible, visual learning styles, and all of those soft people skills, and how to learn yourself and how to learn others.
Right.
Yeah.
The lost art of communication.
Oh my goodness.
Like training. Again, I say it again, I'm not a huge fan of computer-based training, but it does check the compliance box.
Yeah.
But is that really a box to be checked?
Are you talking about the basic safety?
Yeah.
Like refresh annual
electrical safety, lotto, the core basic thing, ergonomics, vehicle safety, first aid, the non-instructor led classes that, your OSHA 10 refreshers and all of that. Those and that becomes kind of the standard that people train to. Do you have an FPA 70E? Well, yeah, I took a 3-hour class online. What does that have to do with me understanding, the limited approach boundary? It doesn't.
Sure.
Right? I need to see that. I need to do that. I need to understand where it's at, where it's located. Right?
Now we're talking about equipment and design and Yeah, I mean the arc flash ratings. You start understanding where you're at.
Yeah, the shirt. No, let's not get into
Okay.
PPE yet, right? On all of that.
Well, I just meant the boxes. I just meant the components, not the PPE.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's all
But the
relevant.
components will tell you how close you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what can you have? How do you have? What meter? What grounds? What lotto? All of it goes into that. But we're giving, electrician rated work to a technician.
Right.
Right. And as we transition from, an apprentice electrician is 4 years. There was a guy at IEA, and I love the dude, and I can't remember his name, but he was a union electrician. And this guy at OEA just beat us to death on, NFPA 70E or just basic lotto training being something that you would give a tech. Oh, no. They got to be an apprentice. They got to be a registered electrician, all of this. And it's like, well, yes and no, right? Each job has components you can break it down to.
Sure.
But unions versus non-unions. Certain states have, you have to be a registered electrician or a registered apprentice in that state, right? Like Boston or Massachusetts is one, right? You can't work in that state unless you go and you're registered. Same thing with your workers' comp for certain states, monopolistic versus not.
Sure.
So understanding like there's just because you're trained doesn't mean you're trained, right? Because all of these extra things that you do and places you go, everything's different. So what's good in California, although we are more stringent than most places, we're really not. OSHA being the what do you call it? The gold standard, if you will.
Right.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Altair Energy Services, and their highly trained, expert technical staff, leveraging decades of renewable power management experience into customized solutions for everyone to meet their energy goals and contribute to a better future for all. Altair's team of hardworking, respected experts are providing full-scope, turnkey repairs, planned and unplanned maintenance, system upgrades, fully autonomous technical crews, supplemental staffing, and customized dynamic scheduling to fit your power production needs. Contact Altair at info@altairenergyservices.com and learn more about their wide range of capabilities across multiple power technologies and platforms.
Oh, okay. We unpacked a lot, and I'm not going to touch PPE with a guy like you because I'm just going to continually hear that you should remove the hazard first.
That's right.
So I know where I stand.
You see it, you own it.
On the PPE discussion with someone like you.
It's all right.
Yeah, but that's it, right? You need to remove the hazard and focus there before you get to your PPE.
For sure.
Because you're going to be doing something very dangerous once your PPE is needed.
Yeah. Hierarchy of controls.
Yeah.
Postpone the work. Don't do the work. If you're not trained, stop work authority is the very first. Stop work responsibility. Right? Is the very first step in all of that. Hey, you know what? I know I'm here to do this job, but I'm not trained.
Right.
Said no technician ever. Right? Said no, the first day guy, you know what? I'm here. You just tell me what to do and I'm going to go do it. Everyone's heart is in the right place, but being in the right place doesn't give you the right outcome.
And this is where I focus on managers a lot, their responsibility, but we won't touch that, right? Because you should not ask a person to go do something that they haven't been trained to.
Yep.
Maybe I will touch on that. And you said it. When you're the new person on the job, in the company, in the industry, you want to do a good job and you're going to do what you're told. And if you're told to do the wrong thing, the chances of you make a mistake are very high.
They are.
Very high. And you put it on them. It's got to be put on the leader that was assigning the task. And I know I'm probably poking at a few people out there in the world, but I don't know if I care.
They know.
Yeah, I don't know if I care, right? Because it's those people that you're putting in hazardous workplace and environment that need to be taken care of.
They do.
How do I don't even know how to talk about it on this podcast, but it seems like not a month goes by where I don't hear a bad story like that somewhere in the industry. And maybe I don't get all the details, right? Because it's rumor mill and things, but something kind of dangerous happened.
Everybody wakes up in the morning to go to work to do the right thing, the next right thing, right? No one goes to work and says, I'm going to get hurt today. I'm going to have an OSHA recordable injury. I'm going to lose a finger. I'm not coming back. Whatever it may be, right? No one ever says that. They maybe forget that the garage door's shut.
Yeah.
They forget they locked the front door. Or maybe they forgot the direct path of how they're getting to the job, right? But all of those things kind of revolve around some type of complacency, right? Guy doesn't show up to work with his PPE or doesn't show up to work knowing where he's going. That leads to a bigger issue, right? Back to your management thing, right? Communication. How did I communicate with him? Did I send it to him in a text and he lost the text? Was it we go to the website, it says where I'm dispatched to, here's the directions from my house. Again, that whole remote workforce thing. When you go to site, it's a different deal. It's a whole different animal because you're showing up to the same place every day. Now you go through POD, a little stretch and bend. Everyone's, talking about what they did over the weekend. Now we're midday Wednesday. It's been hot, right? Now we're bitching about the heat, but we're still doing the same task over and over, right? Here comes the new guy. Right? He shows up, he's in there, he's not part of the regular team. He just wants to do the next right thing. But he doesn't know what that is because, they sent us to him. Maybe he's already supposed to know. Right? This guy's got great common sense. He's been through a lot. He's had other jobs like this, but it's not this job. Right? It's not this PPE. It's not this piece of equipment. Right? So the time wasn't taken because he was hired. Right? He got put on an airplane, he did an online orientation, he got put on an airplane, went and found the truck in the rental lot or in the parking lot. It's got his gear, his PPE, his tools, all that stuff, and a map quest of where to go.
Yeah.
Right? And off he goes. That's the only thing he really got because he's an experienced hire. From the manager side, what can we do? Before we send that, we got to verify it. Is he trained? Did we verify? Did we call anybody? Does he have any industry references? Unfortunately, certain states, you can't really get that information because, California, you can't call a guy's previous company and say, was he a good employee? Was he employed here? Yes or no, right? You can't really ask too much else, but odds are, someone in the industry knows him. And he's a good dude. Or, hey, no, stay away from that guy. There's a reason why this is his 10th employer in the last month kind of thing. So it's a lot on them because a field level manager has billing, customer relations, sales, equipment management of all sorts, truck, man lift, forklift. Are all those guys trained in all of that? Do they have certs? Don't they? Right? My admin back at the office, she's on vacation this week and, I got to cover all of this. So there's just a lot that goes into when that guy finally shows up from the airport. What is he missing? Mm-hmm. But he's got to go to work, right? He's billable. So how do we make sure that there's some assurance that when he starts that he's set up for success? And I don't know what it is. Is it a pause? Is it a pump pause? Is it all the, the owners and, the customers that have to say, hey, we're just going to, when we do our, 30-minute or hour site orientation, we're going to talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing, right? Because that site manager is going to know exactly what your task is, and we're going to talk about it. And at that time, they can, say, hey, you know what? Bob just isn't the right guy. Or where did you find him? I'm going to have to pick him up. You're backfilling and we're going to make him a job offer. Said no customer ever. But
how you do? I think about that a lot too. I've watched Chance do this at Altair for the last 2 years, and he has sort of his own method, and I've seen him write it out. Right, it's like the safety, quality, efficiency kind of checklist, and then how he puts the teams together, right, for the task. To me, the manager needs, and I think it's probably happens in his mind and with other great managers, but to me, it's a JSA. What is my work scope? What is my risk?
Yeah.
All right, I'm putting Billy here. Does Billy have this cert? And how about Johnny and Tommy? Right. And oh no, okay, team doesn't work. It's like a JHA for a manager or something like that. Do they have the procedure in their hand? That one comes up a lot, and I'm very happy when our folks called to stop work because they didn't have the right document.
Right.
Yeah. But it is tough for new to industry folks it's intimidating. So that responsibility tweak, the good catch terminology, we call it a timeout, a pause.
Right.
And try and take the pressure off of a stop work because there should be no pressure.
No, there shouldn't. you know, you said
but there
something-
is a context for these new folks where they feel like it's a big deal.
right. Well, because you're stopping something.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to stop. We're supposed to work.
Pause, time out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, there's the first week with a new person is the critical week. That's when you rub your stank on them. You know, you impart your safety culture. You know, you've imprinted what your expectation is. And if the manager in the field doesn't have the ability, and I don't mean that he's not smart enough to do it, doesn't have the time, the resources, you know, I just need you to get to work, right? That's where I think the struggle becomes, because now they've kind of lost control over that employee. He's just another guy. He's short-term fill in. I'm not really going to invest myself in you because you're only here for a couple of days. My other guy's coming back off of R&R, right? So how do you get them to engage in that guy, to invest in him? Mm-hmm. We didn't hire him just so we could spend 20 grand to let him go. No, we want to keep you around, but the guys on site, they got to know that that's the expectation.
Right.
Where's that manager training that says, hey, here's our expectation for everybody. Same guy, right? New guy, old guy, anybody that comes on your site, here's your JSA for management on, you know, do you have the skill? Okay, well, the job that we need you for right now, no, you don't, but you do for this task.
Right.
Right. And just be dynamic with that, with what you have to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody gets paid. You know, they show up, they do their job, they come home, and maybe they learn something, right? So when I do go to do that job the next time, I now have a little bit of experience in it.
The other change I've seen be successful is, okay, this person doesn't for that task, but we need 3 people. Mm-hmm. And that person can be this, you know, responsible person. We can bring someone else in. So now you get some time, some OJT, you get to witness it. All right, here's a look at what you'll learn next. Correct. But you're not asked to do that piece today, right? So you don't always have to shuffle the person out. You can shuffle a different one in.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. And that's all in the manager's control.
It is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then there's a whole new culture to foster.
Right.
And build, because it's not in the field. Yep. That's in that office.
Right.
Yeah. That you were talking about.
Well, how do you go from, I don't know what the industry average is of tenure at a company. 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You go from the technician level. Maybe you don't want to progress past tech 2, 3. Maybe the company you're working at doesn't have over tech 2 or 3, or they don't identify tech 2 or 3. They just say, you know what, you're now a troubleshooter. You're, you know, doing basic tasks. You're doing torquing and tensioning. You're, you know, tower wiring, whatever it may be, right? If you don't have the career ladder to be able to say what the next step is, how do you get to that next step with the guy that doesn't? Yeah, I just showed up to work, but I want to be you. I want to be you. I want to be my supervisor someday. Well, how do I get there? Oh, well, you just show up to work every day.
Yes.
Right. We're not that industry anymore. You know, Clean Power has kind of come out with their steps of what there's a plug for them on, you know, their career ladder. Same thing with battery now and with solar techs and all of that. So everyone's getting kind of a standardized tech level, you know, GWO.
I like that somebody's trying and thinking about it, but you're right. You got Jarvis or Tina? Is it
Tina?
Jacob, see if you can find any career progression, attrition, stats, anything you can in renewables. That would be interesting. How many years at one company?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I got 21 at GE. You know what's funny though is I don't know how many different jobs I had in that 21 years. I don't think I
just remember. Within the company.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's so big, you could kind of keep having these other jobs. You know, you can go and apply and interview and get an offer. You know, go move into this other area and learn something. You didn't have to leave the company. It's huge, right? I love it when somebody knows another GE employee. Do you know this person? No, but I don't know everybody in town either.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you should.
You should. See, that's what they say.
There's only like 11 people in Tehachapi, so you should have this.
I know. Yeah. But so that's a little different when it's that big of a company. Did you find anything?
Yeah, it says the average tenure for U.S. renewable energy is currently below 2 years.
Below 2 years.
U.S. worker average tenure of 4.1 years.
What was the 4.1?
That is the overall U.S. average is 4.1.
Ooh, so renewables is half of the U.S. average. That's a bummer.
I didn't think it was that low. But it kind
no.
of makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah. Well, look at what's happening. You know, renewables is not oil and gas, right? It's I have my, what do you call it? My what's the name? Landman version of, you know, renewables myself, right?
Right.
But right, we're alternative energy,
Energy,
right?
yeah.
So we're not replacing anything. We're just an alternative. And the folks that really get wadded up on what's green and what's not, let's get away from the what's green and what's not. Let's just say you have traditional and you have alternative. And I would throw nuclear into alternative. Although it's the cleanest, most sustainable, reliable energy we have, it's still part of our space because it's not fossil fuel.
I suppose alternative might fit there.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, see if you can have Tina normalize that data against the growth rate of the renewable energy versus comparable industries. I think the growth rate comes into play, right? I mean, it's not even fair if people are leaving because, you know, we're expanding so fast,
Right.
and it's good opportunity, then it's maybe not a bad number anymore. Because 2 years seems low.
Well, it's each company though. How many
Right.
companies have I been at in that 10 year? Was that 5 or was that 1?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But fair, you should leave if you can have a better opportunity somewhere else, right? To grow your career
Oh yeah.
in the area that you want.
Well, I think ISPs become the junior college of, you know, all workforces. You know, in oil and gas, you have the contract rig companies or the roustabout companies, you know, Brown and Root. Even those guys at one point, you know, that was a company job, depending upon what site you were on, because they had been entrenched for so long. You know, that was where all the subject matter expertise was, the tribal knowledge, you know, for the location or whatnot. So as those kind of companies kind of go away, you're left with going back to bigger contractors, right? So, you know, the IEAs of the world, the Pierces, you know, all those that have these big footprints across multiple spaces,
Right.
right? You don't, when you leave a big company, you go to a big partner company, right?
Sure.
But all the people at the ISP level are all trying to get the company job. And then sooner or later, you know, it rolls back around and that grass wasn't always greener and they come back.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. And people should go out and try and.
they should.
I'm finding that
Give you anything?
renewables workforce is up about 26% since 2016, and that it has outpaced oil and gas in recent years.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not a ton of hard data.
Well, Midland's having a slowdown right now. You know, California's going through our issues, you know, politically and with all of that, refineries closing and just the
Midland's having a slowdown.
yeah, well, they're all feeling the crunch. All Chevron and the bigger companies, it's just that time to slow. Still a lot of work going on, but the workforce reduction, price crunching, it happens every boom. You know, I wouldn't call it a bust, but I say, you know what? Now's the time that, you know, if you're a bigger company, you're going to hold your cards. You're not going to let anybody go. You're going to maintain. You're not going to hire anybody. You're not going to make big, huge capital investments. You're going to wait for the political cycle to kind of play out a little bit more. And then before you dig deep back into it. Did I just say all that?
You did. But you're surprising me with oil because we had the whole drill, baby, drill motto with our current president.
We do, but it's not happening.
It's not.
No.
Well, I'm not aware. I'm watching close for renewables.
Yeah.
Right. That's my job, is to watch that and read those tea leaves. But I figured oil would be.
It's not what it could be, right? We regulated ourselves into a corner and we got to undo all that. You got to unpack it. It doesn't just happen overnight. And, you know, next year is probably a different story, right? We're going to find something new. I mean, hell, we got nuclear plants that are C-train size now that, you know, are going to make their way over here. And they're not even radioactive. You know, I don't even know the technology on. Heard it the other day. Elon Musk was talking about it. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. So California, at some point, 20, 30 years in the future, you know, solar. I just bought solar on my house. Did I make a bad investment? I don't know. There's something new is going to come out. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. No, if you're paying less for energy, you made a good investment.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple.
take this time to thank another one of our wonderful sponsors, Podge Engineering. Podge Engineering, making wind and solar all we know it can be. Are your renewable energy assets underperforming or not performing at all? Did you expect many years of longevity and they're failing on you now? Podge LLC offers many customized, engineered products and solutions to get these assets back on track. Podge Engineering also performs root cause analysis, engineering services, procurement, and construction. Visit podge.org. That's PADGE.org. Remember Podge, making wind and solar all we know it can be.
All right. Feels like we got all over the place.
Listen, I don't do bullet points.
I know. Well, this feels like every conversation you and I have had, to be fair. And I love that. I love that. Tell me what you're up to now. That's what I was trying to get to.
All right. So, started working with, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago when I left Chevron, started working with a company called Global Safety Group. And my buddy Todd and his wife, they've had this company since, I think, 91. And they're big in MSHA, mining safety. I think, I'm going to misquote Todd, but I call him the godfather of the silica standard. He reviewed that and he's like really one of the leading industry experts when it comes to silica, respiratable silica. And it's just amazing the things that they do as a small company. So, 30 plus years later, it's time for him to retire. I make my way out of, Pierce, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do next? All right, well, now it's time to either go back and work for somebody else, which I'm not ready for that, or go back and consult. So I think the consulting route's going to work well for a while. There's a huge hole in our space for consulting companies, especially in renewables. There's, how many sites are out there right now that claim to be the biggest in the world when it comes to solar construction? I think I've been on 3 in the last month, and we're all the biggest project in the world. We're the biggest battery project in the world. We're the biggest this in the world. It's like, okay, maybe last week, and then now there's a new permit and you've kind of moved forward.
And how are you measuring it?
Exactly.
It's not always watts,
kilowatts, gigawatts.
Space.
What is it?
Weight.
Acreage?
Yeah.
But I see just the solar and battery. Battery's huge. It's not just a renewable thing. We did a lot of work for GE or PG&E and Edison and Duke and a lot of other companies like that, and they are on the battery bandwagon. Florida FPL, those guys.
Sure.
Woo.
Everybody is
very much
stabilizing grids.
That's right.
So I'm glad they are.
Yes. Well, when you think about how all that works, all I think of is low voltage. No more low voltage. We're going to have a sustainable, grid that my refrigerator is going to last longer. Commercial appliances are going to last longer, because there's no more power fluctuations. Everything works the way it should. You get a more stable grid, right? So, which means
the goal. Yeah.
Electric things are going to last longer. Again, even look at electric cars right now. There's so many different makes and models, right? But what power are you putting into it when you charge that battery, right? So you make that a better input, higher octane gasoline, if you would. It's better, cleaner power going in. The battery doesn't know, but the charger does, right? So that stuff's going to last longer. So, we're in a renewable space here. So, make it last. The longevity is going to be the thing.
Right. Theoretically, in my head, it should reduce overall cost in the future too for new transmission lines. If you can normalize and stable a grid in some smaller areas as well, or just pick an area of Texas and call it small.
Right.
Yeah. Help with pricing. Right. Didn't need extra money in transmission.
Right. Well, heat is the killer of all things electric, right? Low voltage creates a ton of heat.
Right.
So
low voltage creates a ton of heat. Yeah. Oh man, Podge is going to hear this, and there's something about harmonics in there. But
I could loosely get in there. Yeah. I might have a harmonic meter out in the truck.
Yeah,
S&G,
something in there. Yeah, that I should probably remember.
I know I got an IR scanner out there.
All right,
so
that's right.
Check your temp right now.
Yes, but
how's your final phase?
That's right. Yeah, because all of those things change when your voltage goes up or down. Yep. Right. you introduce new lights,
Mhm.
EV chargers. Yeah. Okay. How is it so far? This is kind of fresh, couple months.
Yeah, a month and a half. It's
Okay.
and it's going well. Woke up, called some friends, said, "Hey, you got what do you have going on? Hey, we need you to go to site and owner rep for a little bit for a cold commissioning and hot commissioning." I'm like, "Okay, we can do that." And just finding the right people again,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of safety guys out there and gals that are not happy where they're at. They got displaced into something, they may be afraid to come into the renewable space and not. I'll tell you, I've been here 9 years, and renewables has been good to me.
Yeah.
Far more growth than oil and gas for what I do and for like program management. There's a lot of newer companies out there that need programs. It's like every time you turn around, there's a startup, and where do you go? Who can you trust? Who has, the information you need so you can go through ISN and Avetta and ComplyWorks and, all of those to where you're fit to be a customer, right? Getting there is the hard part. Staying there, it's easy-ish, but not easier, right?
Yep.
Because everything changes. It only takes one customer to have an issue or a new regulation to change, and it sends shockwaves through all of those databases, and everyone that was now compliant is now not. Well, wait, don't I grandfather in? No, you actually have to update your stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
We pay an outside company for that help. Yeah. There's no way I'm smart enough or could stay up on it. It's too much.
I manage right now 105 ISN accounts.
Wow.
And I got a guy, that's all he does.
Yeah.
Every day goes in, and it's easy to know when things change. Updating everything becomes the challenge. But fortunately, so far, not everybody's on the same cycle. I pity the company that, has 150, 200 clients in ISN. Now your ISN bill's $100,000 or whatever it is. And then you've got COIs that are due at the same time.
Right.
And good luck getting your broker to get all that updated for you. Yeah.
It is a lot to manage, a lot to update, but then you're right. I love that there's somebody else staying up on changes and then sending the information over. And, otherwise, I don't know if I'd see it, I guess.
No, you get too much junk mail through them, like sales ads, this notification, that notification. You have to have someone that actually physically goes in there. Right. And they have, for companies like ours, they have reports you can run that have, where you're at. If I was going to manage your program, you would give me permission, and I would.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I would be able to see.
You're doing that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so compliance consulting, as well as
training
as well.
Yep.
Okay.
We do a lot of MSHA training, new miner training and whatnot. I was telling you earlier, so didn't really make the correlation until the other day. Someone was talking about GWO training and just like, it's kind of, everyone has an opinion on what it is doing to the industry. I think standardization is good. I think it needed something. Do I think OSHA could have, stepped in and been a part of that? Maybe, right? But they saw a hole and they filled it. But OSHA does have MSHA, which is the miner qualification is very much like GWO. Right? There's time frames and, classes you have to take, the amount of time a class has to take. Each subject has a certain, time to it, how many days that training has to be, who can train it. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Right? All of that goes through. And, OSHA we didn't really look at a, industry level to say, hey, can we do better? Because we weren't really looking down that path. We were looking at what do we have? You go to, AWEA, can we, pick an AWEA, and back in the day, and we were all trying to just understand, what was the standard? What is, and the brain power of those trade groups is huge. But it's a federal process, just like anything else. Right. And the bureaucracy a little bit and kind of slows the pace of everything. But as you kind of get it in and get it implemented, I mean, it's better. I mean, the Was it the new WinTech standard that just came out, or last year or whenever it was? The entry level standard for a WinTech.
Yep.
Oh, that thing's great.
Yep.
If every company had that as a minimum, and the customers held everybody accountable to that, this is the minimum. Right? Show me your report card right before you come onto site, and at least you have that assurance that they have all this.
Right. Right.
So.
Yeah. GWO is that private? I know it's.
Well, it's
Where the heck did that
it is
start?
private. Like they're for profit.
Is that Holland or Sweden? I can't remember which country. It was.
Denmark.
Denmark.
I think it's Denmark.
I was very close.
Yeah, it's somewhere over there.
Right. You think it is private?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
But they do a good job. They filled the hole, right?
Yeah, no argument there.
Like
and then
they're
we
not-
see ACP doing something extra in solar right now.
Mm.
Um,
Same thing. The new tech minimum standard and all of that, which is great.
mhm.
But we're an infant in the grand scheme of an industry. Oil and gas has been around for, century plus, century and a half or more. God, more than that. Oil's been around a long time, but producing the way we are now, that movie was it. Daniel Day-Lewis, There Will Be Blood. There you go.
What was this?
Have you seen that movie?
It's an older movie.
Yeah.
There's something in the way
Yeah.
back in my memory.
So, it's kind of the same thing. That was back over on the coast by Santa Barbara, and how they got all that land, and just like how they just took it, and how all that came to pass. So, you have all of that to build off of. It didn't exist and we built it. Enough people got hurt, we fixed it. OSHA gets developed and steps in. Department of Oil and Gas, all these other agencies that at the end of the day have a place, right? Are we overregulated to an extent? But where would we be if we weren't, right? Working within that is what separates one company from another. Are we a safer operator or are we not? Same thing in, the utility commission and all that for solar or substations or the different types of work that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has some form of, minimum standard. So it's good.
It is.
GWO came in and said, hey, we're going to bring all this together for you. How it came to happen, everyone's got an opinion on that. But now that it's here and it's functioning and well, and people are, engaging in it, I still think it should be an American program, right?
I'm very much into the American part. Our friends over at Rise, well, Juan made that for me. That's what made me think of Rise.
Yeah.
But anyway, they have a lot to say about the solar standard, and I hope they get involved.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh, John says hi. by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I saw them today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Steven are fantastic.
Fantastic. And they're doing great things in solar training. So I hope they do get more involved in helping
Right.
with our standard.
Well, ACP is one of those organizations that is our trade group, if you would. And it's to get their ear, you got to be a chair, you got to kind of go through it. And it is a process. I love Neil from Tower Climate Grease Monkeys.
Yeah.
Because he got on one of the committees with us a couple years ago. And I think it was working at Heights or something like that. And he is the voice of the field. And when they're asking questions and he's like, dude, I'm just telling you what a technician's going to say. They're not going to follow this. Right. And hey, how can we fix this? Okay. And we need more Neils in there. And we need more Stephen Johns in there, because there's just the level of expertise is there. It just needs the voice. But unfortunately, someone's got to type it up.
Right.
AI is not going to type it up.
Nope. And the committee has to agree on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your ANSI standards and all of that. And, the nice thing about it is like when it gets finished and it's done, it's legitimately what we're working from. And the stuff that's out there is great. I want to make sure I preface that we don't have bad work product out of those work groups.
No.
It's getting the other companies, the non-partners, to start using it. It only takes one to say, a bigger customer to say, okay, hey, I want to use this standard. Now, all the smaller companies and the service vendors and the ISPs of the world, they now have to go train to that because this customer is big enough and says, this is what we want.
So we do have standards, which is good, right?
Yeah.
And they should always be improved, or when we learn more things or new risks, that's a good time. If too much time has gone by, Our lean training would say your process is probably deteriorating. You better
Right.
go fix it.
Mhm.
But, you said it's an infancy in the industry, and I hear that a lot too. I've been in it 28 years. I don't feel like an infant anymore. When are we not in infancy? Because, it has been, right? And these turbines went out here in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Right? So when are we not in the infancy? I think we have to. I mean, part of me wants to say we should take more responsibility, that we are a little more mature and we should act our age.
Yes, we are, but not in process, not in
Right.
regulation, right? So it's telecom's the same thing. We've only been building telecom towers for so long. This is going to sound bad, but in oil and gas, there were so many fatalities that drove change.
Okay.
So many significant injuries. I've been in the oil field 5 years.
Right.
Right. We don't have that here. We don't need to have that here. We can learn from that, but it's just, I don't know, what's an inch? 50 years?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
But we're still making the same mistakes over and over.
That's my hang up.
Right. And what mature industry learns from its mistakes, that sharing is global. There's not enough hired people from one company to another, from Chevron to, Unocal to Texaco to, whoever else, right? The sharing of knowledge, right, for the same task. We don't have enough experience in that. Like it's not shared enough. Something that happens at one company isn't shared with another. You got the IADC drilling report for oil and gas. God, I remember all that stuff. And
Is that a nonprofit? Is it a federal? Is it
it's, just the International Drilling Contractors Association tells you what the rig count is and what incidents have happened. It's a publication,
okay.
right? And we don't have that in renewables. We don't have, we have OSHA reports that come out, but they're not renewable specific, right? I'm sure someone's going to say, oh yeah, we do. It's this. Okay. Well, I don't know what this is, but there's just no real share site where something happens and it's publicized. Someone gets hurt using an ERAD, or, a piece of equipment is taken out, right? We all get the notices, but if you didn't buy that piece of equipment, you're not getting the notice.
Right.
Right. The
You
stop
weren't on
use.
the warranty call from the OEM or something?
Yeah.
What was the name of that company in oil and gas?
Oh, the IADC.
IA.
DC. It's just a report. It tells where all the rigs are and, kind of the health of that for drilling contractors. But I go back to that a lot, of that type of information sharing, because you've got different, most safety guys, you belong to ASSP, American Society of Safety Professionals, or a version of that, national NASP,
Okay.
a lot of those. And they don't have industry specific reports, right? They're just general safety of what it is, construction, general industry, things like that. But it's not
Renewable or wind,
specific.
solar, battery.
Like wind. It'd be great if there was a publication out there for wind and they talked about all the incidents that happen in wind. Now, the contractors have to share it, and most won't, because, there's probably some legal reason that they can't share their information, or that it's just not. Everyone has a reason why they don't want to share.
But they do in oil.
They do in oil and gas, because it's like the OSHA 300 log for drilling. So, but even the OSHA log, you get the report of what the injuries were, but not anything else. Oh, we got a cut finger, a lacerated finger, amputated.
But you don't know
finger.
why.
You don't know why.
Or how to prevent.
Yeah. Like there's no investigation data. There's no summary.
But interesting.
But that would be that if you were going to go to the next level of sharing, and like, how do you become a mature culture? It would be sharing, right?
Great answer.
Yeah.
Dwayne, great answer. I have had no idea how to, and I didn't know about this IADC. So now I'm kind of curious to go take a look at it.
Yeah.
But great answer. We're mature when we're mature enough to share.
Yeah.
To share more. I think that's a great answer.
My wife told me that the other day. I didn't come up with that.
Kudos. Thanks for telling me.
Let's thank our friends over at Renew Safety, your proactive partner in safety solutions. With comprehensive safety consulting, ensuring compliance with all safety regulations and standards. Expert staffing solutions, providing trained safety professionals tailored to your project's needs. Commitment to sustainability, promoting a safe and sustainable working environment. Contact Renew Safety at info@renewsafety.com and speak to one of their industry experts about their proven track record for safety management on numerous projects. Or perhaps you're looking for construction safety staffing, contractor monitoring, incident investigation, or program development and training. Check out Renew Safety at renewsafety.com.
Makes sense though, right? We're not fearing anything. We're not fearing it. We're doing it for the right reasons, even though it may be embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, safety's not proprietary.
Right.
It just, you hear that all the time. And that was, one of GE's big things. It's like, hey, you know what? We're all in here for the right reason. Life-saving principles, learn them, live them, know them.
Yeah.
Right. And it's important that we do, but we got to share it. If you don't work for them, you don't know.
Right.
Chevron's tenets of operation. If you either know it or you don't. GE has, or PG&E has their, version. Everybody's got their SIF guide now, for serious injury and fatality prevention, the hazard ID wheel, the 10 hazards ID or 10 hazard sources, energy sources, and all of that. But we're just not using it as a stable, as a benchmark, right? It's just out there. Right. This company is a multi-billion-dollar company and all their contractors are using it.
Right.
Right. Brookfield, they're as big as they come. They have their version. Right.
Okay.
So when you look at the different companies, they don't care what other people are doing. I mean, they do. Right. But they're worried about their work, their people. They want to be a part and share, but they come first. Right. And all companies are like that. They take care
family
of their own
first, kind of.
Family first.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't make anybody bad, but where's the platform for them to, maybe when you think of companies like, just a lot of the bigger crane companies and whatnot, cranes are universally the most dangerous thing that we do. Right.
Yep.
And there's a standard, you have your, CCOC train or operator certification that covers, all of that. But not every industry has that. Not every job task has that. Do you think of GWO? It's kind of like that, right? You're getting your qualified or you're trained to climb, right? You're trained to rescue. You're trained to extract, right? So it's a good thing. But what about all the other people that don't work for companies that do that? How do they get that information? Where is that shared with them? As you get better, that stuff no longer has a cost. It's out there for everyone to draw from.
That, great answer. When we share, we're mature.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to be putting a lot more thought into that. Great
Stop
answer.
work responsibilities.
Yeah, it's your responsibility. Right. I mean, that's the first step to sharing.
Yes.
It is. It is.
You see it, you own it.
Right. Yeah. You gotta voice. You gotta speak up. All right. I feel like we're going down so many different areas, and I love this, but I want to like a little fun. You got any favorite myths out there?
Favorite myths?
A myth about safety or a task or the industry?
Oh,
been asking this one lately, and I get some good. Or maybe you've heard of something that was just
hard
way
hats.
wrong. Okay.
Hard hats, PPE, right? That you have to replace a hard hat at 1 year, right? That there's a life cycle of a hard hat. There are rules around all of that, but there are also rules that tell you how you take care of it and how you do it.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
There's a
manufacturer's recommendations in there.
It doesn't say to throw it away after a year?
No. Maybe change out the headliner if you wear it every day, but
Okay.
not necessarily the hard hat. It's got a born on date, but if it's in this room and it sits here, and it's in a bag and it's not been used and it's 10 years old, does that mean you can't take it outside and use it? It's not weather cracked. It bends. It's not brittle. You can still use it.
I never even heard that one.
Yeah.
So why would somebody want to chuck it after a year?
Well, because they just do. Well, there's always a compliance guy out there that says the letter of the law. Well, it says you have to replace it after X time. Well, you don't, right?
Ah.
Everything requires what? Pre-use inspection.
Pre-use inspection.
Yeah. Your harness,
That's a
right?
good
Does
one.
your harness have a time frame on it? Or is it just when it ages out? There is no age out. Right?
I can't think of any of that standard set of PPE that ages out. It's always inspect, use, or replace.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. If there's a graveyard of hard hats somewhere, knock it off.
Stickers on a hard hat. That would be another one.
What's this about?
Well, you're not supposed to have stickers on a hard hat.
I thought that too, but we got stickers everywhere.
Everywhere, right? Because the glue on the hard hat on the hard hat, the glue on the sticker is supposed to, deteriorate the hard hat.
Oh,
I've got hard hats from 30 years ago, and they look like brand new because they were awards.
okay.
It's not yellow. It's not
Yeah.
degraded any way, shape, or form. The sticker's still on there. It was
Uh-huh.
good glue back then. But, yeah, stickers.
So stickers do hurt them or
No.
don't hurt them?
No.
They don't hurt them.
Depends on who you talk to. Now, I get a lot of hate mail on that. Oh, yes, it does. I can see the keyboard warriors going nuts.
I never heard that a sticker would harm the hard hat. I did hear that you couldn't see if there was a crack because it could be under the sticker.
You can. And also, too, when you flex it to look at it. But why is it then that most every company gives you a hard hat sticker to show you've had orientation?
Okay, so stickers aren't going to harm the hard hat.
I don't think so.
That's a good one. All right, great myths. Great myths. Thank you. Well, you've had some pearls of wisdom. I don't know if you have any more for us, but the responsibility, the sharing, communication, it's got to get out there. We have to improve the culture with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to find the culture. There's probably some sociology class that'll study a group of people and give you a
Right.
report. This is their culture.
Yeah.
But we have to continue to do better. And I'm stoked that you're still doing it.
Oh, yeah. Well, data, right? We have to dig into the data, right? And that's the only place where a lot of that's going to come from, because most of our people that make decisions are data geeks in one way, shape, or form. They've got to have analysis by paralysis.
Yeah.
Or paralysis by analysis, right?
Right.
They've got to, in my world, they're so green, like they just need so much data before they can make a decision, right? Or before they can offer an opinion. And when you think about that, it makes a whole lot of sense that it is slow for things to change, because we don't want to make the wrong change. You don't want to. Back at my time at Chevron, the president of the company, he never was directly involved in a whole lot. If he wanted to make a change, Chevron's a ship, and it's this big, huge, massive ship. And if he wanted to make a change, he would throw a rock 100 miles offshore, right? And that little ripple will make the change that he's able to correct. Right? Throw it over there. We're going to go back the other way. Still going straight. But, those little subtle changes, that's our industry. There's not going to be big change. It's a little implementation of these things that have come together, that have come to fruition, that are going to make the change. Right? Battery, solar being so prevalent in what it is right now, the regulations that are involved in all that is already changing work. Do you know what the red rope policy is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Not a lot of people do. Go to a solar site. And
Tell me.
Talk about red rope. Well, it's about just being electrically qualified to be inside an energized area.
Okay.
But that's not NOSHA, right? What about yellow rope? You know about yellow ropes?
No,
Open
tell me.
trenches, right? You have an open trench. Instead of, covering it up, you can rope it off, right? And it's just all about awareness. Having the right people in the right area. And if you're not qualified to be in there, don't go in there.
So you rope off the entrance point,
The whole area.
the whole area.
Yeah. So if you're going around a battery or a series of batteries or a bank of batteries, you would red rope it all off and make sure only authorized people went in
Oh, during a work event.
during the work. Yeah.
I got you.
And after, because, just because people aren't around doesn't mean that a straggler visitor won't come in. You see anything red caution tape, do not enter.
I gotcha.
Right? Same idea. It's just, most everywhere there's a wind turbine or a solar panel, 100-mile-an-hour winds at a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
It just never fails.
Right.
So, but tape gets blown away, the yellow rope doesn't.
No, post COD, I don't think I've seen any caution tapes or ropes, yellow or red.
Yeah. It's just,
During
it's a battery
construction
thing.
phases,
Yeah.
I do.
Commissioning, I learned about this, and we were doing some battery commissioning, and it's good because people are talking about the hazard.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Visual awareness. The customer, the owners are taking this it's multiple owners on multiple different sites, different EPCs, right? So, it's a lot out there that's institutional knowledge
Mm-hmm.
that's not a regulation, making people safer.
Even on the ones that are regulation, we need people like you reminding us every day. And I'll be honest, and I've said this before, I've always been a very result-oriented person, and the world needs people like me too.
Right?
But I need to work with folks like you that are going to remind me all the time, and finally say it in a way that somehow gives me that aha moment.
Right?
And I think there are a lot of folks out there like me
There
that
are.
need that extra push, extra
Mm-hmm.
attention, extra
Assurance.
assurance. The muscle memory's not working, so
Mhm.
let's make sure we practice every day,
Yeah.
sort of thing. I love the analogy about the rock in the ocean you create the ripple. And I feel like you've tossed a few with sharing, communication, responsibility. What's your favorite right now? What do you think we need the most? Which ripple to, yes, a small change because we're big, we got to turn the ship, but we have to continue to turn the ship. What do you think we need the most right now?
I think it's sharing. It has to be. Like the sharing of incidents, the sharing of data,
The data.
Yeah.
The real details.
Yeah.
Not just you did the missing finger gesture or cut or something, but
Yeah. What was the guy thinking?
what was really happening?
Yeah.
How did we get to this point?
Was it really training, or was it an independent employee action? Right? Did the guy just say, you know what, I'm not doing it today because I don't want to do it your way? Or did he really not know? Did he not know that piece of equipment was energized after he performed lotto on it? Did he not know there was a capacitor in there? Was there an energized, bank behind it? Was there something? Because there always is inverters, right? You can turn it off all you want. There's still something, PV power, a capacitor, something that isn't always lottoed out.
Sure.
So, you have to act as though it's always loaded, but sharing that information, right, from the different manufacturers. I mean, the hard thing for a long time was sharing work instructions,
Yeah.
right? Look how long that took, and look what change made.
Right.
Look how it made the ISP's world so much easier because, they have the work instruction to be able to do it, because the manufacturer's not going to give it to you.
I didn't even know we were sharing them in the open market till I left my last employer. And I went, oh my gosh, they're everywhere.
Mhm.
Okay. You said in the beginning, so sharing, and then you give examples about what was the cause. I just want to include, was that person directed to go do a task that they weren't qualified
Mhm.
or trained or missing a document?
Right.
And sure, they should stop work. But if they're new to industry and more scared about losing their job, they're not likely going to stop work.
Well, same with the experienced guy. I've done it so much. This is the way I've always done it.
Sure.
It's a white inverter. They all look the same, right?
Mm.
So no, it's not.
Yeah.
There's two different manufacturers there. Those handles aren't the same.
Right.
What's inside isn't the same. You can that sharing.
Yeah. Okay. Quite a challenge.
Mhm.
I don't even know what the right platform is for our industry to start on it.
Social media, right?
Interesting.
Some kind of
So just
something.
throw it at the wall.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that where all good ideas start? On a cocktail napkin or some random
Just
post
throw it
somewhere?
at the wall.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I would say some of it may be inappropriate to share.
It
But if
100%
it's-
probably would be.
But if it's social media, you can't even offer a polite way because you're just going to take, it's like the inside of the public bathroom walls in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the social media wall in the bathroom.
Yeah. You can write whatever you want. Yeah. So, but you would say, well, fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be messy, but don't regulate it. Sharing's more important.
There's platforms out there. Give Neil another plug. His Tire Climber and Grease Monkeys platform's great. We just need one for telecom, one for
I don't know that
solar.
he's focused. I mean, I know he does a ton on safety, but
Well, it's just you.
I don't think he's censoring any of it, is he?
He doesn't.
No.
I think he probably does to an extent.
Maybe a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just it's the forum to be able to talk about it. Hey, you know what? A guy got hurt at work today.
Yeah.
Right. You start there, grassroots, and then you see, but no solution, just the idea today.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, you're right. You can't turn the ship that quick, but you can chuck the rock out there and let the ripple do what it needs to do.
Yeah, we get a new tool and it has inherent hazards, right? You're not going to find that till people get hurt. How are you going to find out that those people got hurt?
Yeah.
That data's got to come from somewhere.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Dwayne Kitchen's Rockin' the Ocean is sharing safety information.
Sharing is caring.
We don't know how to make it all happen, but that's what we need the most.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Anything else you want to tell us today? We got to do this more often. This was, man, you've got just too many powerful stories to tell. So I'd love to invite you back to keep telling some more.
Oh, absolutely. Give me a couple of months of the consulting gig and let's see how random it gets out there with the different stuff. Because, in the words of Daryl Ragsdale, 9 volts to lightning bolts and everything in between.
That's right. I love that you're doing, in a new area now too.
Yeah.
And, sharing what you knew from one industry to the next.
Very much.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. It all applies. There is
Yes.
a connection that it all applies.
Yeah.
Hazard ID is not, lost on one industry.
No. There's risk and dangerous things to do everywhere.
That there is.
Yeah. All right, Dwayne. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having
All
me.
right,
Appreciate
we're going
it.
to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.